Grab your tea, take a seat. Let's talk truth and healing. No need to retreat. From heartbreak to triumph, from pain to praise. With Bunky at the table, we're lighting the way. She's walked the road, felt the rain. Still found sunshine through the pain. With every story, a soul set free. This is tea time with Bunky, your safe space to be. It's real talk, it's love, it's truth you'll find. With Bunky by your side, you can speak your mind. From the heart of the struggle to the power of grace.
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. This is Richard. Hi, Dan. All right.
Welcome to Tea Time with
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. This is super recent. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I missed you guys. I really did. Oops, wait a second. Look at that. Hey, everybody. Look, I thought I was ready. I was doing too much. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. Like I said, I appreciate you all so much for tuning in and being a part of this show and this conversation. To all of my YouTube and Facebook and Instagram subscribers, welcome. For those that have been taking this journey with me for the last 4 years, thank you so much. If it were not for you, we would not be here sharing these wonderful and enlightening stories. Like I said, you can catch Tea Time with Bunky every Thursday live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. To all of my Instagram followers, I can see your comments, but I can't share them on the platform. So if you want to run over to the YouTube page so that you can be a part of the show live, I welcome you. Tea Time with Bunky at YouTube. Tea Time with Bunky is more than just a show. It's a safe and welcoming space where everyone can share their stories and life journeys, from survivors and advocates to community leaders and everyday voices. No story is too big and no story is too small. Each episode dives deep into topics that matter, from social issues and politics to self-healing and transformation. Become a part of the community that believes in the power of sharing and healing together. So that's what Tea Time with Bunky is all about. What can I say? Okay, we are almost in September, October, November. So that gives you 2 months. Election time is coming up. Hey, Shad, election time is coming up. Make sure you're registered to vote, because, we got to go out there and make a change. Speaking of Shad, in the studio with the Rec Boys, they have this special thing going on with Tea Time with Bunky. Let me add it. Yes, you can get a t-shirt in the studio with the Rec Boy t-shirt. They have all these sayings, all these logos or whatever, but they're having a special collaboration with Tea Time with Bunky, where you can get your special shirt in Tea Time with Bunky purple. The shirts are $25. The t-shirts are $25 for one, $40 for two. Like, I'm of course gonna get the ones that say blessed up and highly favored, God's work, everything, faith over fear, those type of things. Tea Time with Bunky. I mean, but you don't have to get those. I'm just saying, run over to the In the Studio with the Rec Boy page. And Rec, for everybody who doesn't know, Rec, R-E-C, reaching everything conceivable. So make sure you go over there to their page and look at the deal they got. You have to put in, wait, let me take this down. What was this? I'm a Bunky. I am doing the most, y'all. I'm doing the most. Okay, promo code. Put the promo code in Bunky when you order your shirt. And you can get, Lord, I think it said $5 off. So I'm not sure. Shad, I know I got to do better. But anyway, run over there so you can find out more about this shirt. So enough with that. My guest tonight, well, before I get into my guest, we're talking about overdosing, and we're talking about her son, Jonathan. and we're going to talk about everything she's built um, on the unfortunate passing of her son. There's a viewer listener discretion for this show for people who are listening to it on the podcast, because we're probably going to be talking about some sensitive topics, um, which which is okay, but we got to have these type of conversations. In 2024, according to the National Center for Health Statistics, indicate that there were an estimated 80,391 drug overdose deaths in the United States. That was during 2024. And I believe it was up until September, which is when her son passed away. And which is crazy because that's a high number, over 80,000. But that's a decrease, y'all. That's a decrease from 110,037 deaths that were estimated in 2023. And the reason for these, they're saying, and I believe it's the more availability of Narcan. So, but we're going to talk about that more. My guest tonight, Miss Dorothy Sanchez. I appreciate her so much for coming on. She is a devoted mother, author, advocate who transformed personal tragedy into a mission of hope and change. After losing her son to a drug overdose, Dorothy emerged as a powerful, compassionate voice in the fight against the opioid crisis. Determined to carry out her son's promise to God to save others from the grip of addiction, Dorothy founded Hope After Overdose, a platform that uplifts and supports families impacted by addiction. She is also the author of the heartfelt book, Jonathan's Legacy. Jonathan's Legacy, Be the Light. You can get this on Amazon, you guys. Great, great read. I mean, it's not a read, it's her. We'll get into it. Written in honor of her son, which continues to inspire and encourage those facing similar struggles. Dorothy's work is a testament to resilience, love, and faith. Through advocacy, storytelling, and community outreach, she is committed to shining light in the darkest of places and reminding others that healing and hope are always possible. So without further ado, hey, Gabe, I welcome Dorothy Sanchez. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable and having this conversation, because you know what hit me when I was doing this? It just hit me that we're just about to come up on his 1 year anniversary.
Yep.
So for that, I thank you so much for being here and talking about this, because this impacts people whether they want to talk about it or not.
Yes,
Right.
it's true. It's very true.
That's it. And so, for those who don't know, introduce yourself and a little bit about Jonathan for those who don't know you.
Sure. Okay, so my name is Dorothy Sanchez, and I'm a recent resident to Sullivan County. I moved up during 2020. I'm originally from the Bronx and other places along the way. And for the reason that I'm here right now, I am a mother that moved up here. My youngest son, Jonathan Sanchez, as Bunky just said, died of a drug overdose in September of 2024. And we have some insights about that, living, and a lot of people live with this and see it. And we lived with it, and we have something to share about it. I do, because of who he was. He was a great young man. Actually, he graduated high school early at the age of 16. He went to Nye College, and he got married early. He was trying to do the right thing, and he got involved in experimenting with drugs, socially. A lot of us do that, have done it. And then he got in the trap of addiction, and he struggled for a long time. We struggled because the family struggles with him.
Mm-hmm.
And yep. And we learned some lessons along the way. And that book was for me to share the lessons that I learned, and being transparent about it, because it's hard to talk about. It is hard to talk about. It's hard to hear about,
Right.
and but it's important to talk about,
Right.
because we all are learning something, and we all have some things very much in common, and we have some lessons that people need to learn about too, so that we can stop other people from making the mistakes we made, and
Mhm.
also help the system correct itself from some gaps in their processes.
Now, since this is still new. Like, I mean, I really didn't realize how new this was. This is
Hmm.
still really new. So, what are some of your favorite memories of your son that capture his spirit and his personality? Like, what are like? Let's talk about the good. What are like some of your favorite? Because he's your baby boy, right?
He's my baby, and he's the only son I have from my husband. I have three kids, but only one was with my husband, and that was Jonathan. So it was a tangible loss. I mean, I could almost feel it when we hug, because he's a big part of who our marriage and our life together.
Yeah.
The really amazing thing about Jonathan, I'm looking at his picture on it, is he was the only man of God in my family. I'm a Christian, and I Christians struggle like everybody else. And Jonathan was my encourager, and I share some letters inside of the book that kind of talk about his faith, and how even in the midst of this crisis that he was in, he would still encourage me. I could still ask him. He was very honest, and being that force for me and that supportive for me, it was amazing, because I could depend on him to tell me the truth. He was honest,
Right.
and and I could see that he still had that connection even in his crisis. And I think that it was a tremendous tremendous loss, but it was such an amazing relationship that I had with him, because I
Right.
didn't share that with other members of my family. That people with faith are very, they can feel convicted, they can feel like I don't want to hear it, but
Yeah.
he was very open about it. And that's something that I could share with him, an intimacy I could share with him is spiritual.
Well, reading the book, like I told you yesterday, um, I got something like jumped out at me as I was reading it. Like as I was reading his letters, like you guys, like there's actual she has act you guys can't see it because you gotta get the book. Go get the book, Amazon. Um, you share his actual letters that he wrote you.
Yeah.
So you're reading his people are feeling what he's feeling at that moment, right? So as I'm reading it, I'm like, this young man had a true calling on his life. And you can see it because you see those who have the eye. You see the actual struggle that that tug of war that's going on between um his spirit and his flesh. Like you see the war. Look, I just got chills. And it's like my heart goes out to him at that time, and it goes out to you and his family because you saw that as his mother,
Yeah.
right? You saw that. So I just wanted to tell you that um we're going to talk a little bit about his journey. We got a whole build up. Okay, so we got a whole build up. Okay.
Okay.
So so um I can't imagine, and I don't want to imagine, but losing a child is unimaginable, right? Um, can you walk us through the journey of the grief that you found, how you found the strength to write this book and your journey? Because your journey is still fresh. Or have you not really taken the time out to really grieve? Because now, I mean, like these numbers and these dates, I'm like, has she really grieved? Like what? But no, we talked about that too, kind of in a way.
Yeah.
Okay, so what walk us through that. Walk us through that.
Yeah. So watching the escalation of the addiction is is uh is part of almost preparing you, right? Because you're seeing them falling away. But like you said with Jonathan, he had these moments where he's still able to connect in very, very profound ways, you know. So I had hope, you know.
Right.
I had this hope, and I remember praying every single day, every day. Like some people say they pray, some people, you know, well, you know, and her and her and her. But I was
Mhm.
praying for a miracle, changing positions for a miracle for my son. And I was praying every day for a miracle. That it was
Right.
I called it my miracle prayers, right?
Right.
And I because I knew that he was meant for something. And I knew that everything that he had, if he surrendered it, everything that he had, he'd be able to make such an impact on
Mhm.
people if when God chose, right, to give this miracle, give him his life. And I had hope for that. So um I remember praying one night, because one of the mornings, I always prayed in the morning. I remember praying one morning, and I just felt I just felt this. I don't know how to explain it to anybody, but like, do you trust me?
Yeah.
And that feeling, like, all I remember saying is, "Have mercy on me and make sure I'm ready." You know, because I know
Oh
what it meant.
wow.
I
Right.
know that it meant that you're gonna have to trust me with this,
Oh
and
wow.
this is where faith, the rubber hits the road in faith. You know, I've had a
Right.
few of these moments, and I said, "I will trust. I will trust." But have mercy, make sure I'm ready, Lord, because I'm not
Uh-huh.
going to be able to handle. And I remember saying it to. I had a group of women that I do Bible study with, and I remember saying it to them. So they're my witnesses. They'll know. And I was preparing, and I remember when I got the call, because I was getting calls almost weekly, because he was overdosing almost weekly, which is going to be part of what we talk about too.
Really?
He was overdosing. I would get the calls from, come and get me, I'm here again, and it's normalized,
Mhm.
and I remember the last call, and I saw, because you could see on the phone it was a hospital, and I
Mhm.
said, I need to pick this up, and they said, I'm sorry to tell you. And what do you do? What do you do? So yeah, when you're talking about grieving, I'm thinking about, going through that, um, you know, kind of knowing, I mean, everybody kind of can see that they know that their family members at risk, right? When
Right.
when they're in addiction, we know they're at risk. We know that they're living a risky life. And then I was at this other place where I could physically see that if he don't get out soon, is this really great risk. And then knowing that, you know, it's gonna happen, in my spirit. So we went there, and I mean, I don't know how to prepare anybody for that, because you just don't know what to do, and it feels like hope is gone. So the way that I went to get to the book part was, because Jonathan
Wait,
was
okay, wait, let's not get there yet. Let's
okay.
not get there yet. Because you said something. Remember, I said you're gonna say something that's gonna stir
Yep.
something.
Yep.
So for
Yep.
those that are listening, Jonathan passed. She got the call. Jonathan passed away on September 26th, 2024. So that's why I said this is real fresh. This is new. But as I was reading the book, um, you had said something in there, and it like floored me for a second. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I'm thinking, I'm like, we all had this, anybody dealing with someone with addiction, like have we all like had this type of moment? And the moment I'm talking about is when you talk about the last time you saw him, like you touched him when you were upset with him, remember? And I think he wanted to hug you and you wouldn't. You were upset because it's like people who deal with a family member or a friend that's battling this addiction, it's like we the people, we the people,
We
we
are
get
people.
like we're like so over it. Like, why don't you just get we're not thinking about the addiction, you know? We're like, why don't you just get it together? Like you told me you was
Exactly.
gonna do better. And he had just last time you saw him, well, before that, he was just getting released from incarceration. And he wanted you to, well, no, let me rewind. You guys had plans. You didn't expect him to get out as early as you did because
Right.
you had plans for him to go into a rehab.
Yep.
You guys got to get the book so you can read the letters and you know what I'm talking about. And but unfortunately he was let out a month early.
Yep.
And as soon as he got down on that road, let me out.
Yep.
You didn't want to do it, but it's like, what do? You just want to shake them. So I get it. So knowing that that was the last time before you saw him for the last time, how do you come to grips with that?
Uh, that is the two most haunting things for me was when he was in jail and he's getting clear minded, right? And
Right.
he's saying, "Mom, listen," and he's calling me all the time. He's calling me multiple times a day because they have times where they can call, and he's calling me and he's, "Mom, I need you, Mom." You see in the letters, and
Yeah.
he's saying, "Mom,
Yeah.
I'm just the longer I'm here, the better." He's saying all that stuff
Right.
because he knows that he's going to lose it. He knows that he can't be returned to the same situation and expect a different outcome. He
Right.
knows it. So
Right.
he knows he was on his way, and now I'm so happy because I'm like, yes, he's going to do this. And then it's like I remember getting a call late, and he's like, "Mom, they're releasing me," and I'm like a zombie.
Right.
But all that time I was, supporting him. I was sending him money in jail. He was writing me letters. I'm writing him. I'm a good pen pal. I
Right.
write letters because I know how important that is.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sending it to him, and then to see him, I could physically see him just jump, just like he got to Monticello. I was trying to not drive through Monticello, and
Right.
I saw his physical, like, couldn't take it, and he just jumped out, and I felt so the feeling that we get is like betrayal. It's like I
Right.
feel
You
betrayed, or you
promised
feel
me all of
used,
this.
and
Right.
you feel used, and it's really not about me. you
Right.
know it's really about him, but you can't help because you're a person, and you're
Right.
saying, you know I was hoping. See, hope
Right.
is important. I was hoping this would be it. And so when what you're talking about is I wasn't seeing him, I was so upset because I felt so betrayed. I remember rolling down the window to yell at him,
Right.
and my husband just tapped me and he said, "Don't do it." And it's like my husband, he has a wisdom I don't have.
Right.
I was
Right. Your mom, and you told me you were going to do this, and I believed you were going to do this, and yeah, no,
and
it's
so I didn't see him, and I was mad. And this is something that we go through too. Should I block him? Should I call him? Should I not go? Should I go? We all have those questions
yeah,
because we don't know what's gonna work. We can't force them to do anything, and so then we have to manage ourselves in the
right,
best possible way. So I didn't see him, and then I finally saw him, and it was actually in front of the church, and I saw him talking to my daughter and my mom, and it's ironic because I was helping somebody else. And I remember a sister came out and she's like, "Ain't that your son?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Go to him." Like, she's saying that. And I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, she don't know. She don't have any idea
what he put me
what,
through, and
what I'm going through and what he did. She don't know. And she was right. Right. And so I finally walked in. He was waiting, and I just like, "Mom." And I was like, I remember shaking my head. I remember him looking up and grinding his teeth. And I was like, just you, I can't believe you did this. Really, Jonathan? I remember saying, "Really, Jonathan? Really?"
Mhm.
And I know our words matter to them too, right? Because
Yeah,
those drugs don't relent, and we do, right? The drugs don't stop. The biology doesn't stop asking for them, and we do, and that gives it room to grow. And
Right.
we have to do better. That's kind of the lesson I learned. But that time haunts me, knowing that he didn't want to come back and not hugging my son.
And how long was it? What was the time frame from that time you saw him till September?
I would say,
You need a break?
no, I'm good.
Okay.
I would say it's all right. It's all right. It's real. It's all real.
No, it is. And I don't want you to, I don't want to put any trauma on you. So I'm
No,
like,
no, I'm
you need a
good.
break. Okay.
I'm good. I think it was probably about maybe 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't long because it wasn't that long at all.
Okay.
So yeah, and and living with that, and living with what you said to him and how it made him feel.
But
Those are
you
the
can't
tidal
leave yourself
waves.
out. You can't do that. You,
But you can learn. So and what so I want to face it, and I want to be able to say to somebody else, I know that feeling,
right.
and don't do that. You know what I mean? I want to be
Yeah,
able to say that I listen to me,
right.
not because I can't take it back,
Right.
but there's a lesson in it all. And I don't want it to go by the wayside because I don't want to face it. I
Right.
want to face it so that I could say, and that's what made me start to write the book, is to
Right.
say, like, here, learn this lesson too. Learn this lesson now, so you don't have to learn the lesson I learned, the ultimate one.
So that was a turning point,
Yeah.
that losing him and dealing with that. No, I'm not saying don't face it. Absolutely face it. But what I'm saying is don't beat yourself up, because I'm
Oh.
sure if he can come back now, he'll be like, Mom, good. Like that battle, that war
Hmm.
that was raging in my life is no longer raging, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So
You're
so
right.
yeah, no, what you went through can, I applied it to my life. How about that?
Yeah.
It made me sit back and think, how am I going to respond now? Like, you don't, every time they want that hug, every time I talk to you, I love you. I don't
Right.
like it.
Right.
I don't
Right.
like the addiction. I love you, the person.
Yes.
Love you.
Right.
I don't like that addiction. And so, like, reading the story helped me, was another thing. There was something else prior to your story that helped me separate the two, you know. So, anybody dealing with a loved one, friend that's dealing with addiction, it's really not them. It's not them. They really have no control, because for us that don't have that addictive personality, or dealing with any substance abuse, or have never dealt with a substance abuse, we will never know what they're dealing with,
Yeah.
So I commend you so much for
Thank you.
putting all of that out there. Okay, so the letters,
Hmm.
the letters. Is it who am I? Once again, people got to get the book, because it shows you the battle that this young man is having in his mind, in his spirit. You can see it's a mental and spiritual. You can see it
Yes.
in these
Yes.
letters. And I personally don't know if I would have had the courage to share them. So what made you share the actual letters, not written? You didn't rewrite them. This is in his handwriting. I mean, a couple times I had to pull it up because I'm like, this handwriting is so small.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so it's authentic. But what made you want to do that? Where did that idea come from?
So the idea came from uh, the, after I told you I was praying for miracles, and I was sitting here, and because he was in prison and rehabs, he would write a lot, and he would write to me
Mhm.
a lot, and he would write journals a lot. So I had them. And after my son passed away, I was going through stuff, because you do,
Yeah.
you're going through his things, and he had so much written down. And when I found his love letter to God, I remember crying out to God and saying, because at that love letter, just so everybody knows, it says at the end, it says, how can I repay you with just my life alone? The answer is I can't, so I'll save 1,000 souls. And
Oh,
I felt like, okay, God, so how's that gonna, I felt like, how's that gonna happen now? You know, because I know that when he was there, he knew he was going to use his life, right? Just like I believe that, you know, that when that miracle came, that he was going to be effective in impacting lives. So now I'm in my office and I'm saying, how is he going to save 1,000 souls? And I I said,
wow.
I'm going to use his life to save 1,000 souls. I'm going to use his words to save 1,000 souls. I'm going to use his thoughts and his insights to save 1,000 souls. I can't speak to addiction the way he can.
Right.
In fact, I recently sent a letter to somebody who I know struggles with addiction, who's in prison, and all I did was send his letters. I sent
Mhm.
his poem. I sent his letter. He has one called "My Dope Love Story." I
Yes.
just sent it because I knew that he could speak to them so much, so much more insightfully and directly about the struggle of addiction than I ever could.
He's
So
speaking in their language.
yes, and I'm allowing his life and his words and his heart to speak even when he's not here, and that's what made me write that book.
That's 1,000 souls right there.
Mm.
What was the response from this gentleman when he read these letters?
What was the response from?
The person that you sent the letters to that was
Oh,
incarcerated, how did he respond to this?
I only spoke to him one time after. He said, I got it. It was deep. Thank you so much. Right. And it was, and that's what I'm trying to I just leave it there, you know. I'm
Mhm.
leaving it there. And so many people knew my son. So in the streets around here. And I even went to Liberty and somebody knew him. Because it is almost like a subculture, you know, that they stay together and
Yeah.
they connect in different in a very different in a very intimate way,
Mhm.
because they protect each other, or you
Right, they
know,
do. They really, really do.
they do. He wrote something just recent. I found it recently where he's talking about it was like a brotherhood, that you have this thing in common
Mhm.
and you kind of understand each other in a way that nobody else can, basically, is what
Yes,
he said, you know.
that's deep for people that don't know. Because like when I describe it, you know, you're talking about how they look out for each other and protect each other. Like I call it the underground. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't really see, I mean, like you see them sometimes, but a lot of times you mainly see them at night. You see them, but not really. They protect each other. It's a whole community. It's like a whole nother world. You know, it's a world that people who aren't addicted to, it seems like we can't penetrate that world for anything. We're not welcome in that world.
And the way that they feel like they're not welcome in ours, right?
Right.
So they
Right.
feel like when like I'm connecting to you, but I can't reveal, right,
Yeah.
to you, but I'm safe and I can connect to this person because they understand. You
Right.
look at me like a black sheep or
Right.
something's wrong with me, but they get it. And so
Right.
it's, and I call it this subculture, because they wind up going to program even when they're trying to recover,
Right.
and they call in recovery, and we could talk about that later, but they're going to they're going to programs with each other. They go to, you know, then they try to hold each other accountable and
Right.
outpatient with each other, and then they go to jail with each other, and they
Yeah.
so they're always around each other
Right.
until unless something changes, and that's a trigger for them too, you know.
Yeah. That's a big trigger because they're not moving away. It's people, places, and things. And if you're still around the people, places, and the things, it's just going to keep happening,
Yeah,
you know. So yeah. So hope after overdose.
yeah.
So what inspired you to create this platform, and what did it offer to the communities and the families? Like what is it about, hope after overdose?
So what inspired me to create Hope After Overdose, which is a private Facebook group, was initially because I was tapped to do the overdose awareness vigil this year.
Okay.
They featured Jonathan, and I knew months ago, and I said, when I found out that Sullivan County was known to be number one for
Yes.
opioid deaths in New York State, like more than Manhattan, more than the Bronx, number
Really?
one per capita. Sullivan County is in the entire state. I think we're like a
Like,
lot of percentages more than the state average. We are more than double the state average of overdoses than the rest of the state. So I didn't know that when I moved here, right?
right.
As I'm going to meetings and people are hearing me kind of say, I'm finding out we're number one, but I don't really hear people talking about it too much. And
Mhm.
so I started to talk about it a little bit, and then I was tapped and they said, hey, would you speak? And when I said I would, and then I'm saying, but there's hundreds of people that are affected by this in this county. So
Right. Let me see the
I think
county.
they need to show up, and I think they need to show out to show people that go there, because there's people that go there, like, the leadership goes there, the legislators
Right.
go there, judges go there, the congressmen might go there, the first responders go there. But the people that are affected the most, they need to show up there to say, look how many people are being affected by this. And so I created the Facebook group because I wanted to attract people like me that lost, those hundreds of people that lost their loved ones to overdose, to come and organize, to show up, and to go there and say, I don't want my son or my daughter or my dad or my sister to disappear in this town. I don't
Right.
want them to disappear. And that if it's my son, so for overdose awareness, I know about 20 members, maybe 15 members, 15 to 20 members of my family came, because my son's death affected that many people. So if there's
Right.
hundreds of people, that means it's affecting thousands of people at least. And that's just directly, and indirectly our community and our businesses and our neighbors. And it's huge. And I wanted them to show up. So that's the initial reason why I created the group. I went on other Facebook public platforms in Sullivan County and just said, if you can make a difference, but together we can make change, is kind of my slogan for that.
Right.
Come and join me. Come and join me. Let's organize and let's make change.
Because
So
in the
that's
last, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, in the last couple of years, I can, no exaggeration, think of 10 people that I know of that or connected. No, that I, maybe 6 that I know of, and people that I know who's connected to maybe 30 overdoses since COVID. Since
and
COVID.
and I want to just say something. Overdose deaths is one thing. Overdoses, that's a
Yeah.
tremendous
Yeah, I'm
number.
talking about overdose deaths.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's not even mentioning how many
Yeah.
people
Overdose.
are overdosing,
Right.
and
Daily.
surviving and
Right.
repeating. But this is an incredible thing that we are not really paying attention to. But I'm sure each person, that they're just like I was, just waiting for that phone call to
Yeah.
come, because they're
It's
at
serious.
risk. Yeah.
Have you been contacted or had any contact? Because that's what I was looking up. I'm like, I know there's a name. There's something out there. They have the drug task force, the Sullivan County Drug Task Force, also known as Substance Use Task Force. Have you heard anything from them?
Yeah, I actually attended their last meeting in Hurleyville,
Okay.
and they're very receptive.
Okay.
And I'm encouraging people on my Facebook group to start attending these things,
Okay.
because they need to hear the
Real
reality.
stories.
Yeah, they need the reality, the
Right.
perspective of, that's not working, because
Hmm.
I know you think that's good, but
Right.
this is how it's playing out in real life in our homes and in and in our streets, I mean, it sounds like it might work to you, but
Right.
but it's not working for us. And you
And
may think it's working this way
right.
because
But
you
it's
looking
not.
at a spreadsheet, but I'm telling you how it's really playing out.
That's fact. That's
Mm-hmm.
and they need to know that. And they're not going to know it if people aren't in the building. If
Exactly.
real family members, friends, or whatever aren't there telling their story.
Mm-hmm.
So Jonathan's story is the 1,000 lives, like he's spoken in the prophecy.
Yeah.
And the fact that you kind of knew what was about to happen, God,
It was big.
he prepares you. God prepares you for those things.
And I just want to say this part too, that, you know, a lot of people say things about wherever their faith is and prayer and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And some people think prayer is like, a magic show that as long as you ask for it, it's going to be yes.
But
And
real quick, I don't know. I tell people when you pray for something, especially someone's healing. I told somebody this once, and her father, not drug overdose, he was dealing with a sickness, and she reached out to me. She was like, "Kanitha, could you please pray for my father?" Da, 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 da. I said, "Okay, wait." I said, "Now, are you sure you asking for healing?" I was like, that can come either way. Now, I was like, it could come healing on this side, or it can be healing on the other side where he's no longer in pain, but he's no longer with you. So, are you ready for whatever God answers? And once she said yes, I think her father passed away that night or that next day. Because when you ask for prayer and healing, you better be careful what you ask for.
so that's perfect to exactly what I'm trying to say. We think, right, that prayer is and fix this and I need money and I need a
Yeah.
car. That's how some people pray. I know that.
Yeah.
When you're praying for somebody's life, their health, first of all, nobody's getting out of this world alive. We know that, right? Everybody. So,
We all
some
have
people
a
are praying for
time.
people they're 114 years old. They're still praying, and so things. We
Crazy.
we want what we want. We want
Yes.
it when we want it. We want it the way we want it.
Yes.
And so, but prayer is a communication, and so that's what I'm saying about what happened. Are you listening? Right? Are you just saying, I need that money? Or are you saying, I want to pray for Kanitha. I'm sorry. I want to pray for Miss Bunky. I want to pray for.
No.
I want to pray
No.
for Miss Bunky. I want to pray for her success, and then you listening and paying attention to, what am I supposed to be involved with it? Is God calling me to do something? So,
Right.
when I'm asking for a miracle for my son's
Right.
life,
Right.
and I'm saying, well, what is going to happen now? I feel like he did say yes, but this is the miracle.
Right.
His life now. The
Right.
answer is yes. It's not the way you thought. It's the way it's going to be the most effective, and you're going to have to trust me
Right.
that this is
Yeah.
the most effective way to do it.
Well, that's deep. It's his legacy. That's making the difference. His legacy.
And I don't feel like my son, when you ask me about the grieving, there's waves, of course, you think about
Absolutely.
things all the time. And I'd rather have him here, right? I'd
Right.
rather see my son. But then there's these moments where I feel like he's not disappeared because he's so actively
He's present.
speaking out. He's
Yeah.
speaking
He's
out.
very present.
He's very, very present and speaking out. And this was what he was purposed for.
Right.
Right. So his life and everything that happened bad and every experience that was scary and everything that I know and everything he shared is going to be used now. And I think that I don't know. I just think God has a plan in it, and I see it unfolding,
Right.
and in a big way, in a way, because I don't know what I'm doing except for I'm just
You're
telling the
listening.
truth.
You're listening to his voice. He's telling you what to do, and you're just doing it. You're just being obedient.
Yep.
That's
And
it.
telling the truth and
Right.
telling the truth
And
and
you
facing
are.
it.
This is the truth. It can't get no truthier. Look, it can't get no. It can't. This right here. telling you, everybody go. Let me put this up here. Everybody go and get this book. Go get this book. It is so good. It's not what I expected. I told you that from the beginning.
Yeah, you
I
did.
was like, I was like, wait a minute. Like there's letters and there's pictures. I mean, like you were vulnerable in this book.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
apparently that's what Jonathan was called for, even though we may not, we don't like that, but that's what it is. What do you think? Okay, being a mom of someone who passed away um like this, what do you think one of the biggest misconceptions about addiction and overdose is? What is the Because I know I get offended now when I hear things. People say, "Oh, well, that's just a crackhead or that's just a dope head." I get highly offended. So, what do
You
you
know,
think is the biggest
I have I've worked with women in crisis, and
Mhm.
part of that led me to women in addiction years ago. And I was talking to them, and I had the most honest discussions with them, and to really understand. And I really don't think that the system and all those medical doctors really understand, because they don't know my son, they don't know your sister, they don't know our parents. We see something, we perceive, we see, we have our senses, and we're saying there there's something
There's something
that
going
is
on,
there's something going on. We're not
right?
just biological beings. We're mental, we're emotional, we're spiritual, we're physical. We're complicated, and we
Right,
can see that there's something going on. And the grip, the insatiable grip that
right,
is almost choking the life out of it, if we can see it like that,
right.
that it's like a helplessness. And I likened it to like a mousetrap. Like if you think about addiction,
Oh,
I have all these things. You ever had a mousetrap? I'm gonna let you know. I had mice in my house.
oh
I'm
no,
gonna
I've
let you
seen
know.
them. The old one with the snap.
Yeah. So you ever see, not the glue trap, but I could do the glue
No,
trap
the
too.
real old school ones.
The
That's
old
yeah,
school one. And if you ever set up a trap, and there be times, so if you think about the trap as addiction and the drug is the cheese in there, right?
yeah.
There'd be times when that trap would be set off, but there wouldn't be a mouse there. So some
Right,
people can get away.
right.
Some people can get away with the cheese.
That's a good
Mhm.
analogy. Yes,
Then there could be a time where it snaps on their tail or their leg. And so they can get injured by it, by the
right,
cheese, right? They can get changed, injured, but they can still live.
right.
But the trap, if it comes down on their neck,
Yes,
they can still live if somebody helps pull it out, pull it up for them. They can't do it by themselves. They
mm,
can't. They can't do it by themselves. They can't get out of that trap. And if we leave it on their neck, they are going to die. So when
right,
they're trapped by their neck, and many of the people are trapped by their neck, and we see when it's the different stages. People experiment all the time. Not everybody gets fully into the trap, but when they're in the trap by their neck, somebody has to help them get out of that trap. And that's how I see it. It's brutal. It's a brutal
yeah.
situation for them.
Being involved, because you're very involved now. You're like in the forefront of this thing. What are some of the biggest challenges that you see other families facing? Like you've gone through this. So what are the things that you're seeing families go through? What are some of the things they're facing? You know,
I think
people you
that
come across about that. People you come across.
I think that I think families are so afraid and so confused.
Hmm.
Um, I can see I can see the frustration that I was going through too, when when you're trusting that the experts know, when they're giving that, when they're in treatment, and the experts must know And then when
Right.
you're talking to and you don't know, you can't fight against the person that's trapped in addiction. I don't like calling them addicts. The person
Right.
that's trapped in addiction, right? They're in this really difficult place of losing control of who they are and their dreams and all that stuff. They're in this somewhere along this line, right, of getting that
Hmm.
in the trap. And we're kind of their identity, right? We hold them like, you're my daughter, you have dreams, or you're my son, and you trying to remind them who they are. And I think that when the system is telling them that you're an addict, and that you could stay on medication, it makes it very difficult for us to say, you don't have to keep taking medication. You never used to take medication. Like it's, I think it's, everybody's very frustrated by the strategies that are being used right now that are not focused on sobriety at all. I think that the people that see it identify what I identified, which is that addiction is an industry, and I'm going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
It is like a $300 billion
It's a money
industry,
maker. It's a money maker.
right? So people, and what do industries do? They profit off of their product, and
Right.
if they're getting there, and if the street has customers, right? That
Right.
their customers, has the industry now
Hmm.
taken those customers for themselves and say, now we have permanent customers, because sobriety is not required anymore in recovery. It's not required. Retention and participation is how they measure it, and the lack of overdose deaths.
Well, I didn't know
That's
that.
so when you look at what success is
Hmm.
for them, success is retention, which means they're going to grow, right? Stay here,
Hmm.
get your methadone every day, or here's your
Yeah.
prescription Suboxones, right?
Right.
So stay here. You need this every day,
Right.
and so now you're my permanent customer. That produces revenue for
Right.
them, right?
Right.
So retention, participation, not freedom, not tapering, not sobriety. Why do you think that people are overdosing while they're in recovery? Because
Right.
they're still getting high. They're getting high with you and other drugs. So
Right.
it's a failing system. And I think that the parents that know that, are saying, they're how Jonathan was in a recovery program overdosing like that. And at
Mm.
no point did anybody say,
What's going
okay,
on?
this isn't working. We need to
Right.
do something else. No, they nothing happens, and people know this. The parents know this, that the system's not working.
Hmm.
I'm going to tell the truth.
Right.
I'm going to tell the truth, and I'm going to say,
How to speak it
what
out. Right.
what happened to
Right.
sobriety?
Right.
Do you know that we're in record number of people in addiction ever in recorded history? Ever recorded history. I mean, I've been looking this up. Thank God for
Or faith-based treatment.
mhm,
I was going to ask about that. I was going to ask about.
mhm,
Hi,
yeah.
Marie. I'm like,
Hi, Marie. Yeah.
that's she pulls out a good point, because I was going to ask
Mhm.
you, like, what do you think communities, schools, and churches can do? Schools, community, and churches can do to support overdose awareness and prevention.
So
Do you think?
so schools are so important, because we got to stop even the experimental part, right? And if
Mhm.
we're educating them, and I know the drug task force, the people are working, hard, but they're inside, in my opinion, they're inside of a hamster wheel. And
Mhm.
so we're running in circles, because if there's no sobriety and there's no freedom, then we're just trying to catch people from not dying from overdose. And we're
Right.
keeping them managed inside of their addiction, because we're not freeing them from it. And
And
like
yeah, then
Marie was saying, that medicated assistant treatment is what is being mandated to be paid for. So those methadone, Suboxones, You're right, Marie.
Definitely.
Methadone and Suboxones are methadone and Suboxones are moneymakers, and they retain them with that, and they're mandated. Insurance companies, Medicaid are mandated to pay for that.
So they're just getting high in a controlled environment, basically.
They're
And they feel better about it because the doctor is giving it to you.
because they're saying they're in recovery. They're
Yeah.
getting high in a controlled environment and outside of it too.
Yeah. That's
And there's no accountability. So that's
right.
why they can leave there and maybe smoke crack or maybe, take ecstasy and drink alcohol, whatever. And
Right.
then or fentanyl, because the reason they're taking fentanyl is because it's breaking the ceiling of the methadone. So they can feel euphoric again.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
that's
something
what's
just popped up.
happening.
I never saw that. No, you're right. You're right. I mean, like it just gives like this
So,
conversation just gives a whole new outlook on, the drug thing.
so the
Um,
funding, what Marie was talking about is that since all the funding is going to Matt, that's where the money's going to. And so effective programs are not profitable because you lose your customers, right? So effective programs that will put you in long term, because you need time. You need time not to worry about your rent and how you're going to eat while you're going through,
right.
the
The
adjustment.
recovery. Right.
You need time.
Right.
You can't be shooting up dope for 5 years and go somewhere for 28 days.
Yeah.
It's not
No,
going to work.
not
So
gonna
you
work.
need time, and those programs do not get funded.
Hmm.
And whether they're faith based or not, my point is that there are people of faith like Jonathan
Hmm.
that don't even have the choice to say,
Right.
this could really affect me in a positive way. There's no choice for sobriety right now. There's no funded choice for sobriety. None. It's all met. It's all, you know,
Hmm.
and my understanding is that back in the day, they used those tactics for detoxing only and then sobriety, but they're
Okay.
using them for constant. It's just a constant
Disruption.
recovery program now to keep them to keep them at now to keep them as customers and
Yeah.
like my son until they die.
It's terrible. It's an ugly world we live in. It's an ugly
Yeah,
world. Now, if Jonathan were here today, right? If Jonathan were here, hey, 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 Chris, definitely will replay. Yes, definitely, because I did a shout out to y'all in the beginning, and this is a serious conversation. So make sure you share it, Mr. Catchwreck. Um, if Jonathan were here today, what do you think he'd say about um the work that you're doing in his name? Like, what would he say to you, his mother, who is doing all of this? What do you think he would say?
I got this picture that I look at. Oh shit, it's right here. I think he was saying, "Go, mommy, go, mommy."
I was thinking that too, and I don't even know him, but just from reading his letters, he'd probably
Like,
be like,
go,
"Yo, that's my
mommy.
mom. Like that's my mom's."
I think he'd be so so proud.
Yes, I was gonna say so proud. Yo, that's yeah, yeah. I love. I hate so much that you lost your son. Like I said, I can't imagine. I don't want to imagine. And it hasn't even been a year. But I love what you're doing to keep him so alive and present. And you're he spoke his legacy out, the 1,000 lives. He spoke it out.
Yeah,
And even though he's not here to actually touch the lives like probably he thought, or maybe he did know, who knows? But the
who
fact
knows?
that you're carrying it on and making it happen, making his dream
Yeah.
come to life, that
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. You're an amazing lady. Just so you know, if nobody told you that, you are amazing.
Thank you.
And
Thank
the
you.
strength that you're showing, y'all. But those listeners, again, I can't stress it enough. It has not even been a year. Hasn't been 365 days yet that this all came to a head.
and things are happening, because even being here, Bunky, this is amazing. I just want you to know. I know I told you, but when we met at Bagel Fest, and
Yes, and I've never gone before, so it was
and
fair
I've never
game.
gone before.
Okay.
And purple is my favorite color.
Yeah.
And tea, I have tea every day. Thank you,
Oh,
Kat.
look at that. He said, Chris, his name is, well, Mr.
Oh, thank
Cataract,
you, Kat.
said you're doing it. God bless you. Stay strong and keep doing what you're doing. Much love. See,
Thank
everybody
you so much.
appreciates everything, what you're doing. It's touching so many people that are afraid to speak it out loud. That's the thing. They're afraid to speak it out loud from the shame and the stigma because, people are so judgmental.
Well, I think too, this is a beast. This is a huge monster because if the system, it's not just you standing up for trying to love on your kid and pray for them and convince them and beg them to get
Right.
help. That's one fight.
Right.
Then there's this system, right, that's telling you, oh, it's a psychological thing and they always got to stay this and
Yeah.
it's not realistic to think they're ever going to be free, and you got to fight on so many fronts
Yeah.
to save your loved one's life. You can't just accept that. I'm not accepting that, and that is the hope that I want to share with everybody today. The hope is that there's an awakening, that we, us, the people, the churches, the business owners, the synagogues,
Community.
that we would have this awakening to
Right.
say, we don't have to accept this. We don't have to.
Right.
We saw people getting sober before. What do you mean they
Right.
can't get sober now?
Yes.
What,
Yeah,
what
like
is
what is that about?
what
Like
is
people used to get sober all the time. Like what is going on right now that people can't escape this?
Yes. Don't because you're managing them, and
Yeah.
maybe some people, I'm just saying, to be graceful, maybe some people think that that's compassionate, but what I saw and what we see in our homes, that's not compassion.
No.
That is cruel. to
Yeah.
keep some to keep a young man who has so much potential, when he went to college, when he was 16, when he graduated, he's married, he's in college, so bright, connecting with so many people. He was evangelizing at one point in his life. He came out, he was on fire. And then you saying you just an addict now, and that's all you're gonna be for the rest of your life. That's robbing somebody
Yeah.
of their life. And we should not be surrendering to that. We need to
Right.
say, I know my son,
Right.
he ain't that.
Right.
That's
He's
something
not
he
what you're
did.
saying he is. And they plant that in their head. Like we were
Yes.
talking about that at the bagel festival.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the questions on one of your games that I got wrong because in my mind, that's what it's always said. Like I know recovering addicts, and they say I will always be an addict. And the response to that was no. And in my heart, I'm like, that really is true. But like talking to them, they're like, no, I'm always an addict. But if you're not acting, if you're not doing it, why do you label yourself that? So you are who you or what you say you are. And if you're constantly saying, well, I'm an addict, even though I haven't touched in 50 years, why are you doing that to yourself?
And
I don't,
I get the strategy.
right.
I'm not I get the strategy. I know that there's a reason that
A
they're
purpose.
trying to
Yeah.
make them understand how susceptible, especially at the beginning. Don't
Right.
think you're good when you're not good, right?
Right.
Yeah, don't step out. You remember that you have this thing. You know that feeling.
Right.
You know that pull. Remember that, and I get that. But there
Right.
has to be a point where you graduate from that, right?
Yes.
And you say, I'm free, and now I'm free. Instead of
Right.
saying I'm an addict, and say, hi, my name is Dorothy
Someone, my name
Sanchez,
is, yeah,
and
that's,
I'm free today.
yeah,
And I'm free today.
that
And I
part.
know what it was, and you
Right.
can get free too, right? So they aspire
Yeah.
for that. It's
That's
so
positive right there.
mhm.
That's
Cause
positivity right there.
right. Because I know we all have purpose. And my purpose was not for that. Oh,
Yeah, no,
mhm.
it's not. Um, Look, we're not gonna get to fact cap today. We're gonna have to do this again. But I'm not
Yeah.
letting you go yet, not yet. Um, for those watching who may feel hopeless, right? What's because people, not just the person dealing with addiction, right? Um, family members, friends, whatever. And anybody that's dealing with the addiction in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
For those watching and listening, what's a piece of encouraging words or a piece of advice you would want to leave with them, because you dealt with the worst of it. Like, it's horrible what you went through. For someone that's not even going through it that bad with what you went through, what's a piece of advice you can give to someone?
Don't
Or which
surrender.
one?
Don't surrender. And
Mhm.
stand. I'll stand with you. Come to Hope After Overdose. I'll stand with you. I'm standing up. You can stand up. I'll hold you up. We can hold each other up. People are holding me up. We're not alone.
Right.
If you think you're alone, I'm challenging you. You're not alone. Speak up. I'm here. The Hope After Overdose Facebook group is there. There are people that are praying for you. There are people that are will support you. There are people that are everybody needs hope, and everybody needs somebody. And there, if you reach out and don't give up, you're gonna find the support you need and the hope you need to make a difference.
S- Thank you for that. Is there anything, your final words, anything you, besides that powerful statement of encouragement, is there anything that Dorothy wants to say before we end? Let's everything you want out there, let's get it out there.
I just want to say a couple of things. I want to say I have an online petition that if you guys know that we
Unity
need
change.
change, it's
Oh wait,
you
that's the
can
YouTube
you.
one. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I have it. I thought I had it.
Well,
Unity, but it's Unity change, right? No,
no,
that was your YouTube. They can go to
that's
YouTube and see
YouTube.
that. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Is there information on there if they click on
Um,
that link?
I don't, I don't think I'm not together. Yeah. Um, but there's a petition online. I can send it to you, Bunky. You can,
No, I have it. I didn't know how to
yeah.
upload it because it was I didn't know how to upload it to the web to this right here. I'll
Mm-hmm.
try to figure out how to type in all that stuff like that. I'll get it
Yeah.
out there. I'll
Okay.
get it out there
And
and
that
sign the
online
petition.
petition is important because it's you see how the battle's on different fronts. We have to battle on different fronts too. So
Hmm.
petitions show that there's interest. Showing up
Okay.
shows that we care, right? So going up to meetings. I have a meeting on October 9th at 11:30 at the government building with
Uh-huh.
the Health and Human Services Committee. I'm going to be presenting this stuff. People need to show up there and say, we know it's not working, or we know we need change. We have to do better. Just your faces showing up makes them understand that it's an important issue for our community. So October 9th, the online petition, that's different battlegrounds that we're covering. I also want us to know that we should not be surrendering to normalizing addiction and normalizing overdose. That's what we've come to. We should not be doing that. It's not normal for people to be overdosing repeatedly. It's not normal for us to accept that we're just going to stay addicts forever. And the other thing is that we can make change, just like Marie said. We talk about it all the time. We can make change together, together, not me and you. It's us. We're Sullivan County, and we have to say, I don't know what anybody else is doing in the state. I don't know what anybody else is doing in the United States of America. But if we can change this together, then we can be known for having courage instead of deaths.
That's it. Change.org.
Yep.
Change,
Change.org. Yep.
support Johnson's legacy. So
Mm-hmm.
they can just, I probably go to change.org, and then there's probably a part where you can search, and they just need to put support Jonathan's legacy,
And I
expand
just want
long
to
term.
say this. There's no, do not, you don't have to, there's no money required. I know they ask for donations. That's not for, I don't need donations. I need signatures. And if we get signatures on there, I have like 310 or 320 signatures on there. I've seen people with 20,000 signatures. So if we can get those signatures up there.
Well, you have 321 signatures right now.
Mhm.
And I'm getting ready to sign right now.
So those are the different fronts, right? Because they're saying people care about this, people are showing up about this, people want change. And this is, like you said, Bunky, this is election time. So this is the right time to show up and say you need to pay attention to this now if you really want change.
Yes. I
And that's,
am sharing it, signing in, doing all that stuff right
yeah.
now.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I know it's so important. I know that there's people that are in suffering in silence and grieving in silence. I know all of that.
Awesome,
Yes,
wonderful,
Fred.
wonderful.
I know all of that. But you don't have to be silent, or you can be silent and just be together.
Right.
But you're not alone. That's my thing. You're not alone.
You're not alone. There are people out there, there are communities out there, there's family, there's friends. Um, erase the stigma, erase the stigma. Um, because I think that's part of the problem. Nobody wants to talk about it, you know. And here on Tea Time with Bunky, that's what we do. We have those difficult conversations that
Mm-hmm.
nobody wants to talk about. I, like I said before, I appreciate you so much for being vulnerable. For those that have not gone out yet and purchased your book, go over to Amazon and get Jonathan's Legacy, Be the Light. It's so vulnerable and raw and real, and it's something that you needed that you didn't know you needed, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
I needed this. It helped me. Um, it helped me. And I don't know if I'm going to share it. I may share it. I don't know. I got my little notes in it. So I don't know, you know. But if anybody that knows me, that's near me, are interested, I'd rather you go by and support her with this to keep, you know, everything going. But if you want to borrow it, I'll let you borrow it. You have to return it though. For those that just can't afford to go buy it, you know, maybe to give you some pointers, you
I'll
know, if
sign
you're
it for you, Bunky.
struggling. Okay. All
Mm-hmm.
right. With all my notes and stuff like that.
That's all
So
right.
you all, thank you once again, everybody. That has, hey, Annette, um, thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight or didn't tune in tonight, but you're going to catch it later on. For those that have caught it later on, make sure you comment so you can interact with Dorothy. She'll respond. Dorothy, go back to the pages after the fact, and she'll
Mm-hmm.
respond. Share this episode is very, very important. Even though they say I guess that doesn't include Sullivan County. They're saying it is a decrease, but it's still a super high number. This overdose deaths, not just the overdoses, but people who didn't wake up from it. The
Right.
number is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we gotta start talking about this more. And you opened up the door. Well, you kicked the door down. Thank you for having this conversation with me. Like I said, you guys go share this episode, talk about it. You have a loved one that's dealing with addiction and, you know, fighting through it, you know, show them grace. Got to show them grace and let them know that, you know, that it's not them. It's not, you can't blame them. It's the addiction, you know, and it's not easy because I've never had an addiction. Thank you, Lord. Nobody but God's grace. So I don't know what it's like to fight through, you know, so there's no judgment ever. I mean, I used to judge. I'm not even going to lie, when I was younger, because I had no idea. But as I've gotten older and you see, you know, okay, listen, they have no control over this. You know, this is bigger. This is bigger than me, you know, so we got to put it in God's hands and we go from there. And whatever may be, you know. but you shared your son with us tonight, and you shared your son with the world. Um, and I want to thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, share, follow, and subscribe to Tea Time with Bunky. It's a place, it's a community of conversations that need to be had. If you have a story that you would like to share on Tea Time with Bunky, reach out to me on YouTube. No, not YouTube, Facebook and Instagram, or my email, teatimewithbunky@gmail.com. Let me know. We'll share your story. Um, Also, once again, real quick, in the studio with the Rec Boys is doing a special because they sell shirts and hoodies and all that. They're doing a special Bunky Purple Edition of shirts. I'm gonna get the, like I said, the blessed and highly favored, God's work, all the things with faith over fear, God's got me, all that, and use the promo code Bunky to get a discount for yourselves. I love In the Studio with the Rec Boys and their rec gear and all that stuff like that. So make sure you go do that. Reach out to Dorothy, and where is it? What is it? Go to her Facebook page, Hope After Overdose, and become a member and be informed. So I appreciate you all so very much. You have a wonderful, what she say? I'm trying to share what she said. I know that's right. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. She's all in the government building with everything going on. She's in it. So we're gonna talk about that thing. So, like, once again, if you have a story or something you want to share, you want to get something out there, let's talk about it. Reach out to Bunky on Tea Time with Bunky on Facebook and Instagram, or email me at teatimewithbunky@gmail.com, and let's have this conversation. So I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.